Hallo. Willkommen zurück, mein Lieben, zu Lamplight City. So, schön, dass ihr alle da seid. Liebe Grüße gehen raus an den Chat, ne, und natürlich an alle, die im Nachhinein auf YouTube gucken. Und sind wir zurück bei Lamplight City. Und ja, es geht so langsam, ganz in langsamen Schritten dem Ende entgegen. Und so auch ein bisschen dem Top-Finale. Und es spitzt sich alles so ein bisschen zu, ne? Mit uns und der Geschichte und dem Serienkiller, den wir jagen. Und auch so ein bisschen mit Bill und mit...
Excuse me, barmaid?
Hi, what do you need?
Ich wollte gerade sagen mit unserem Hans Tenhauser, aber das ist ja ein anderer, ne?
How are things here now that the election hubbub has subsided?
Oh, right. I thought you looked familiar. You were the one in here asking about the fellow who was killed.
That's right.
Well, there hasn't been too much excitement since then. I've hardly had to toss anyone out, which is a right shame.
Why's that?
Kicking out a rowdy customer shakes things up a bit on a quiet night like this. Gets the blood flowing, you know?
What would a customer have to do to warrant being thrown out?
My general rule is if they're being a nuisance, they're out. If they try to pick a fight or are just being generally disrespectful, it's a one-way ticket to the pavement outside.
Good to know. Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
What is that, some fancy drink concoction?
No. It's the name that's been given to a serial murderer here in the Chum.
I see. Never heard of him. And if he's smart, he won't show his face round here.
You know, this place suddenly feels just a little bit safer.
Do you know anything about the man sitting at that table over there?
Not really. He comes in here a few times a week, but he mostly keeps to himself. I see his type all the time, though. Older, probably retired and looking to escape his home life. I feel sorry for him, but that sort of customer is my bread and butter.
I appreciate you taking the time to chat.
Yeah.
Ja. Gut. Also, genau, da war ja der Typ hier gesessen, der alte Rentner. Und seine Frau hat ja zu uns gesagt, wir sollen ihn nach Hause schicken. Und wir haben ihn überzeugt davon, dass er ja mit seiner Frau einfach mal um die Häuser ziehen kann. Und dafür kriegen wir jetzt eine Info, angeblich. Die müssen wir uns noch abholen. Ja? Die müssen wir uns noch abholen, und zwar über die Nachbarn. Ja, und die Nachbarn von denen, das ist eben... wo waren wir da? Genau. Hier, wir wollen eigentlich in die 2a. Aber die Nachbarn erzählen uns ja hier ein paar Informationen. Hoffen wir es.
Ah, Mr. Fordham. Thank you so much for getting Kurt back home.
Kein Problem.
Don't mention it. Now, would you be willing to answer some questions?
Yes.
Well, yes, of course.
Of course. Oh, die sind auch sehr interessant aus.
How long have you been living here?
Well, Kurt and I moved in shortly after we were married, so it's been about 34 years.
Goodness, that's a long time to be living in one place.
Yes, well, the building may be a bit run down, and it gets colder than cold in the winter, but the rent has always been cheap. You can't really ask for much more than that.
Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
You mean the serial killer who's been killing men in Chumley?
That's the one.
Nah, never heard of him.
What?
I'm just pulling your leg, Mr. Fordham.
I like this one. She's got spirit.
Unfortunately, I only know what I've read in the Gazette, but it's scary to think some maniac is loose on the streets doing such terrible things. And with Kurt going out by himself for hours at a time, oh, I don't like it one bit.
Tell me what you know about Burley Cause.
He and his wife hadn't been living next door very long, maybe 4 months or so. But I didn't talk to either of them very much. They weren't interested in being neighborly, I guess. It's a shame, really. Maybe if we had known one another better, something like this could have been prevented.
Where is Mrs. Cause now?
I don't know, with her mother, maybe. That's usually how it goes.
You wouldn't happen to know where that is, would you?
Afraid not, but there is one other thing.
Yes?
Don't say I told you this, but, well, I used to hear the two of them through my wall. I tried ignoring it since it's really none of my business, but it became impossible.
What was it you heard?
I don't believe they had a happy marriage. They'd have awful fights a couple times a week.
What would they fight about?
Oh, all sorts of things. The worst one was when she discovered he was going to a brothel. I think he might have hit her on a few occasions, too, but it can't be certain. I hope you don't think me a horrible old gossip, but I thought you might like to know.
Not at all. I'm glad you told me. What happened on the day Mr. Cause was killed?
I was here at home, doing my knitting as usual. All of a sudden, I heard a loud bang. It sounded like a gunshot. I went and knocked on Mrs. Cause's door, but there was no answer. I did notice a smell, though, like flowers. Something seemed wrong, so I decided to report the incident to the police. Not long after that, an officer showed up and started asking questions. Awful man he was, so rude. I gotta report him, but I forgot his name. I think it started with a P.
Parsons?
Yes, that's him. He called for some more officers and they got into the apartment. That's when I found out Mr. Cause had been murdered.
I appreciate your time, Mrs. Williamson.
Have a good day, Mr. Fordham.
There doesn't seem to be anyone at home.
Okay, wir haben auf jeden Fall einiges erfahren jetzt noch hier um die Nachbarn, also um die Familie, um das Ehepaar, das hier gewohnt hat. Oder wohnt. Ich weiß jetzt immer noch nicht, ob sie überhaupt noch da wohnen. Und ja, da ging es wohl ziemlich krass zu. Ich habe so ein bisschen das Gefühl, dass der Justice Killer deswegen wahrscheinlich sich Justice Killer nennt, weil er, ich sag mal, die sind alle nicht so unschuldig, seine Opfer. Ne? In dem Fall, der hat seine Frau wahrscheinlich öfter geschlagen und so. Bisschen Selbstjustiz. Vielleicht können wir ja über jeden so ein bisschen Dreck am Stecken herausfinden, der da umgebracht wurde. No. Vielleicht so in die Richtung. Gut. Da waren wir, genau, bei denen waren wir noch nicht. Hier waren wir auch noch nicht. Gucken wir mal hin. Ah doch, da waren wir auch schon. Genau, da ging es um den Kollegen hier, ne? Da sind wir noch nicht fertig. Da wusste ich immer noch nicht, was wir da noch machen sollten. Brückenbaustelle. Aha. Reden wir mal mit dem Herrn.
Excuse me.
Hey, what are you doing here? This is a construction area.
I'm Miles Fordham, a private investigator. I'm looking into the murder of a man who used to work here.
Fordham? You the same man who got Laura Dupre arrested?
Yes, that's right.
Ah, good to meet you. I'm Gerard. My sister Amelie used to work as her cook. Would tell me stories about how horrible Dupre was. Good to see some justice done for a change.
Glad to be of service. And good to meet you as well, Gerard.
So you say you looking into a murder? You talking about Bowditch?
Yes, that's right. I had a few questions for you, if you don't mind.
Nah, should be okay to talk for a few minutes.
Do you normally work in construction?
Mostly. Sometimes I be doing other jobs here and there. But I'm lucky to have gotten this job. I think it will keep me in work for a long time. Which is good, because I have 3 mouths to feed at home.
Be sure to watch yourself, then. I hear these types of jobs can be dangerous.
Oh, believe me, I know. One slip up and bam! That's the end of you. But I always watch myself.
How's your sister doing?
Good. She still works for the Dupre family, but with that monster Laura gone, she's much happier. She tells me the family is acting like the madame never existed, and the husband raised Amelie's pay, too.
That does sound like an improvement.
It's just a shame 2 others had to die for it.
So, the Gascon-Chumley Bridge is finally being worked on.
That's right. The project started up again shortly after the election. That Leroy, he's not wasting any time. Maybe a good thing for this city and for the country.
We'll have to wait and see. How long before the bridge is complete, do you think?
They say it will take 5 years, but who knows? As long as the work is steady, you won't find me complaining.
You worked with Ennis Bowditch, right? What can you tell me about him?
Ennis was fun to talk to, always telling stories. Pretty sure most of them were made up. But it made time go by faster while we worked, and he made me laugh. We weren't really friends, but it's duller without him around, you know?
Do you know what Bowditch did on his off time?
Not really. I only saw him on the job. But I know he was seeing a woman. I forget what he said her name was, though.
Did he mention anything else about her?
Oh, sure, but I don't think they are the type of thing that would help you, if you get my meaning.
Right. Anything of a non-personal nature that might help me find her?
Yes, he mentioned she worked as the serving girl at the ruined coffee house.
I see. Thanks. Do you know any details concerning Bowditch's murder?
I only found out when the boss man told us.
Can you think of anyone who might have wanted him dead?
Well, everyone here liked him. I don't think he owed no one money or nothing like that. But maybe someone at his other job wasn't so friendly with him. Who knows?
Other job?
Ennis also worked at the docks as a longshoreman.
Well, that would have been handy to know sooner. Better late than never, I guess.
Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
Justice Killer? No, I don't know anything about that. Who is he?
A serial murderer. He's the one who killed Ennis Bowditch.
And you trying to find him?
That's the plan.
Well then, I wish you luck. Ennis didn't deserve to die the way he did. I hope that murdering bastard gets what he deserves.
Thank you, Gerard. I appreciate the information.
Not a problem, boss.
Also man erfährt schon, wir hangeln uns hier immer so von Information zu Information, was ich persönlich sehr gerne mag. Ich mag dieses detektivische Ermittlungen. Ja, das ist schön. Ich weiß auch nicht. Es mag zwar für viele als das Spiel und als Geschichte langweilig wirken, aber ich mag das. Dieses sich hinermitteln, sich seine eigenen Gedanken dazu machen, so ein bisschen. Ich finde das wirklich sehr interessant. Wir sprechen erstmal mit ihr im Ruin-Kaffeehaus. Das kennen wir ja schon, ne? Unser ehemaliger Treffort mit
Begging your pardon,
Constance
miss.
Upton.
How can I help you, sir?
Oh, die sieht aber so aus, als wäre sie ein bisschen introvertiert und vielleicht hätte die Kellnerin unehelich geschwängert. Wir werden es rausfinden.
You've been working here for quite a while, haven't you?
I have, yes. Coming up on 3 years. Been a real pleasure getting to know all the regulars. They've come to be sort of like a second family. By the way, whatever happened with you and your lady friend?
I beg your pardon?
Well, that nice lady you met in here a couple of times. Did it work out between the two of you?
Oh, that? No, that was strictly business.
Right. Well, if you see her, tell her I said hello.
I understand you were involved with Ennis Bowditch.
Was involved, yes. I haven't spoken to him in nearly 2 months.
Oh, were you not aware of his death then?
What? Ennis is dead?
Well, this is awkward.
Indeed. I'm sorry to have to be the bearer of bad news.
How did it happen?
I'm afraid he was murdered.
Murdered? By who? And why?
Those are exactly the questions I'm trying to answer myself.
Oh, I see. Are you a detective?
A private investigator, yes.
Well, I'll answer what I can. If it helps any, that is.
I'm certain it will. What was your relationship with Mr. Bowditch like?
Oh, well, it was nice at first. He was a proper gentleman-like. But then something changed.
Oh?
It's like I told Ruby. I think he might have got hit on the head at work because he seemed to be a completely different person. He'd get angry for no reason. He even... Well, that bit's not important. At first, I thought he was just going through some rough times, but after a while I realized he'd changed for the worse. So I broke things off. He wasn't too happy about it, but I wasn't going to stick with a man like that.
Could you tell me more about this Ruby you mentioned?
Ruby? Oh, I've known her since we were little. She's my dearest friend. There's not a secret between us. She was a great help when I kicked Ennis to the curb. I'm lucky to know her. Everyone should have someone like Ruby in their life.
Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
Justice Killer? Is that some kind of pesticide?
No, it isn't. Never mind. I'll let you get back to work.
Thank you, sir.
Also mit dieser Ruby würde ich gerne mal reden, weil da scheint ja auch irgendwas nicht so fein gewesen zu sein an ihrer Beziehung mit diesem jungen Herrn. Und weil wir gerade drüber reden, ja, ich finde es auch super, super spannend. Und ich habe gerade auch schon so ein bisschen nebenbei überlegt, ob mir das bei einem anderen Adventure- oder Detektivspiel jemals so massiv aufgefallen wäre. Und ich glaube nämlich nicht, und das finde ich eigentlich super genial geschrieben und geskriptet in einem Spiel, wie viele Gedanken sie sich da gemacht haben, dass die ganzen Fälle in dieser Welt so verwoben miteinander sind, dass sie halt wirklich krasse Konsequenzen miteinander haben. Sagt er ja auch schon so. Also wenn wir jetzt gewisse Sachen in den anderen Fällen nicht gemacht hätten oder schon gemacht haben, haben wir hier total andere, ja, wie sagt man denn, Voraussetzungen, ja, um den Fall überhaupt lösen zu können oder halt, wie wir ihn lösen können. Und ich glaube, das ist mir noch kein anderes Spiel bekannt, wo das so eine Tragweite hat. Genau, das war nicht mal bei Sherlock Holmes so. Da war das alles so ein bisschen oberflächlicher, da ging das nie so deep, da hat es nicht so Konsequenzen gehabt. Die Konsequenzen haben sich nicht so weit getragen. Deswegen, also mal wieder total krass, wie unterbewertet dieses Spiel ist und wie genial es eigentlich ist. Und für krasse Liebhaber für Detektivspiele, glaube ich, ist es mega geil, dieses Spiel dann öfter spielen zu können, um zu sehen, was sind die Unterschiede, die passieren. Also echt nochmal, also krass, richtig Respekt an die Macher. Das ist einfach, deutsche Adventures sind halt einfach die besten. Ne? Das ist halt... Also ich war ja bei Unforeseen Incidents schon so begeistert und das Spiel hier, das ist auch nochmal echt richtig toll. Aber freut mich auf jeden Fall, dass ihr das auch so seht. Ne? Also was ist mit dieser Ruby? Kommen wir da nochmal irgendwie auf die zu sprechen? Wir reden jetzt mal mit ihm. Vielleicht kann er mir ein bisschen was erzählen. Aber da scheint es auch auf jeden Fall auch schon Probleme gegeben zu haben. Trevor Hastings? Was macht er denn hier?
Trevor Hastings, is that you?
Why, Detective Fordham. Fancy seeing you again. What brings you down to the docks?
I'm trying to track down a serial murderer, who I believe is the same man who was breaking into the flower shop.
You don't say. I wish I could help you, but the guy never came back after the night you and your partner came around. Where is your partner anyway?
Oh, he's around.
Well, give him my regards. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get this crate back, or Cecilia will have my head on a platter.
Of course. Good seeing you again.
He's around? That's probably the most clever thing you've said in months. Well done.
Also für alle nochmal zum Zusammenfassen. Trevor Hastings ist der Lieferant, der die Blumen für den Blumenladen im ersten Fall abholt und sie zum Blumenladen bringt. Also, ne, da hat Bill ja noch gelebt. Also, wow. Ich mache öfter mal jetzt eine kleine Speicherung immer so, ne, weil aus Sicherheitsgründen so. Aber wir wollten ja eigentlich hier, um diesen anderen Typen zu sehen. Vielleicht ist er hier. Vielleicht ist er inside. Hello?
Huh? What? Who is it?
Genau, die geklauten
Hello, sir.
Osterlilien.
I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions.
Go ahead, but make it quick. Time is money, after all.
Was hat er denn für einen krassen Hut auf, Bruder? Wer bist du denn? Ach.
What does your work here involve?
I'm in charge of tracking and cataloging all the cargo that passes through here. I receive the shipping manifests and make sure that things get unloaded and sent to the right places.
And you do all this by yourself?
Well, of course not. I'm in charge of administration. A team of workers does all the heavy lifting.
Did you employ a man named Ennis Bowditch?
I did, yes. He only worked for me occasionally, but he was always punctual and performed his job well. I learned recently that he had been killed. It was a tremendous shame. Workers of his caliber are so hard to come by.
Do you have any information relating to Mr. Bowditch's murder?
I'm afraid not. The truth is, I knew very little about him. It's the same with most of my men. I have a business to run, you see. It affords me very little time to socialize.
Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
I believe I saw a headline in the newspaper recently mentioning that name, but I dismissed it as fear-mongering nonsense. There are more important things I need to worry about.
But the Justice Killer is directly responsible for the death of one of your workers.
Oh? Is that right? Well, there's nothing I can do about it. What my men get up to in their off time is none of my business.
Wow, this guy is even worse than you, Miles.
Thank you for your time. I'll let you return to work.
Right you are.
Der ist aber wirklich sehr, sehr beschäftigt hier, der junge Mann.
Blank surfaces don't stay that.
Ich würde gern wissen, was die beste Freundin von seiner Ex hier zu sagen hat. Über deren
Keep up the good
Beziehung.
work, Mr. Hay.
Aber sie hat zurückgehalten. Also er hat sie wahrscheinlich geschlagen. Also ich gehe davon aus. Also jetzt haben wir schon 2 Fälle, wo er auf jeden Fall Dreck am Stecken hatte, der Typ, der gestorben ist. Deswegen, der Justice Killer in seiner Funktion als Selbstjustizler macht schon Sinn. Ja. Vielleicht können wir ihn nochmal fragen.
I don't think there's.
Naja, genau. Was soll er wissen über die Freundin? So. In der Eisenhütte. Da fehlt uns ja noch einer.
Excuse me, sir. Are you in charge here?
Unfortunately. Who are you? This area isn't open to the public.
I'm Miles Fordham, and I'm a private investigator looking into the murder of one of your workers.
A private investigator, eh? And maybe you can help me out.
I'll do what I can, but I'll need to ask you some questions, Mr.
Mims. Sanford Mims. Go ahead, but make it snappy.
How long have you been the foreman here?
Sometimes I think it's been too long. Things were so much easier before we got these machines. They keep saying they're supposed to improve our lives, but they've been nothing but trouble. I've already had 5 of my best men get mangled by some of them. And then there's these damn fools blowing things up. My hair wasn't this gray 5 years ago, you know. I swear one of these days, I'm just going to pack it all up and retire. Let someone else deal with these damn things.
What can you tell me about Hannibal Kirkland? A former employee here?
Listen, I've got a lot on my mind right now.
I understand, but it's important to my investigation that you tell me what you know about him.
I'm sure it is, but as you can see, I've got a lot to deal with right now.
Well, he's no help. Maybe you can figure out a way to help him help us.
What happened to your iron mill?
What's it look like? The damn thing went and got blown up.
Was it in disrepair?
Of course not. All my machinery is sound, checked and serviced regularly. This is the work of those goddamn Redites. I'm sure of it.
What makes you certain the explosion was the Redites doing?
Take a look, boy. The whole mill got taken out. Even if this had been a mechanical failure, which it wasn't, the explosion would have been contained to a single part of the machine. This couldn't have been anything other than sabotage.
Have you had problems with the Redites before?
They've sent anonymous letters, but this is the first time they've actually carried out one of their threats.
You're absolutely sure this was sabotage, then?
Yes. How many times have I got to tell you that? Listen, you said you were an investigator, right? So find out who did this to my machine. If you do, I'll help you out with whatever else you wanted to ask me about.
Looks like we haven't got much of a choice. He seems pretty upset about his machine.
I'll see what I can do. I'll be going now.
Be careful on your way out.
This place sure is big. I wonder if they actually make anything useful. Completely ruined. Whoever sabotaged this knew what they were doing.
Okay, also wir müssen wieder einen Mini-Fall zwischendrin
This place
lösen.
sure is big. I wonder if they actually make anything
Was uns
useful.
natürlich auch zurückfährt zu diesen Demonstranten. Beziehungsweise zu diesen Antis hier, die gegen diese Maschinisierung sind.
For workers only.
My apologies.
Ja, ich will mich da halt umsehen. Wie soll ich mich denn sonst umsehen? Naja, gut. Komischer Kauz. Schauen wir mal, ob wir ihm irgendwie helfen können. Aber da fehlt uns auf jeden Fall dann noch eine wichtige Info über unseren einen Täter. Ihr habt gemeint, vielleicht Upton mal fragen, ob sie Infos hat. Das ist eine gute Idee. Ab und zu mal ein bisschen Upton abchecken. Oh, sie ist nicht da.
Therein lies up.
Warum ist sie denn nicht da?
Should have listened to your mother. Mostly cook.
Ja, gut. Zeitung lesen? Vielleicht steht da noch irgendwas drin. Autor, größer. Erster Wahlkaufmord. Ne, ist Gaskauf. Ne, okay, das sind lauter so Sachen, die jetzt unsere Vergangenheitsfälle betreffen. Schade. Ist sie denn auf dem Polizeirevier? Nein, achso, da können wir nur mit Snelling reden. Ach Mann, Snelling, ey. Der Typ, ne?
Chief Snelling?
Yes, Fordham?
Fordham?
Have you got any information on the Redites?
The Redites? That ridiculous gang of troublemakers? Yes, I have some information. What's your interest in them?
A witness is refusing to speak with me unless I can figure out who sabotaged his iron mill.
I see. All I can offer is a list of names of known Redites along with their last known whereabouts. But I remind you that you only have until tomorrow afternoon before this indulgence expires, and I throw you in jail. This seems like a waste of time.
That's my decision to make.
Very well. I'll give you the list when you're ready to leave.
I need to get back to my investigation.
Yes. Time is not on your side, Fordham. Here you are. This is the most recent list of known Redites.
Aha. Oh, jetzt geben wir die auch noch alle so. Close
This is a lot of
Sullivan.
names.
Ja.
If we're going to track down this saboteur, it might be best to retire to a more tranquil environment. Fancy a trip back to Upton's?
Mhm. Wilson Donaldson, Peyton Ferguson, Marcus Chapman. Okay. Auf zu Upton. Er ist tatsächlich hilfreich. Ja, also in Anführungszeichen, ne? Hilfreich, so mehr oder weniger.
Right. This should be a quiet enough spot to concentrate on finding that saboteur.
Ja, genau. Saboteur.
I just hope Upton doesn't mind you turning her parlor into your own personal study.
I'm sure she'll have no objection.
Die hat ein
Now, let's have a
Sprechzimmer.
look at that list again.
Okay, also. Clovis
I
Sullivan.
think we can rule out Mr. Sullivan as a suspect. He's Western Vespucci's problem now.
Western Vespucci. Genau, dann haben wir hier.
Unless Mr. McKee has escaped from prison, which I highly doubt, he's not our man.
Arrest and charge of attempt murder. Okay, er ist im Gefängnis.
This might be who we're looking for, but it also might not be.
No harm in paying him a visit, except losing time in our other investigation.
Mhm. Und der hier ist involved in a factory explosion. Auch
If
interessant.
dead men could cause explosions, let's just say things would be a lot different. This clearly isn't the right suspect. It's possible that this is who we're looking for, but without some way to be absolutely sure, we're in danger of wasting precious time.
I'm not usually the gambling type, but a 1 in 3 chance doesn't strike me as the best odds.
Mann.
This might be who we're looking for, but it also might not be.
Okay, wir
Pay him
haben
a visit. Who knows? We
Wir
might
haben
get lucky.
3 zur Auswahl. Und ich bin jetzt nicht sicher, ob das hier eine wichtige Entscheidung ist, weil sie vielleicht nicht zulässt, dass wir den anderen noch besuchen. Also ich habe jetzt vielleicht so ein bisschen das Gefühl, dass wir uns hier entscheiden müssen. 6 Mal in Sabotage verwickelt, 4 Mal in Sabotage verwickelt, 2 Mal in Sabotage verwickelt. Der eine wohnt in Gascogne, St. Louis. Und der andere wohnt in Worcester. Ich wäre eher für den Peyton Ferguson. Der kommt mir jetzt am suspicioussten vor. Suspicioussten. So, was ist das? Peyton. Hätte ich jetzt gesagt. Ich hätte es gesagt, Peyton ist jetzt der erste.
Well, well. Who's this lovely specimen?
Allow me to introduce Peyton Ferguson, known Redite and prime suspect in a sabotage at the Thorbum Ironworks. I picked him up and brought him straight to you.
Ooh, a saboteur. Just leave him to me and I'll make him feel right at home.
Please find the justice killer soon, Miles.
Wir haben jetzt einfach
Being
einen
Giles' prisoner
eingesperrt.
is not my idea of a good time.
Right. I'll leave you to it then.
Ach, wir haben jetzt einfach einen von denen genommen und gesagt, der war's und haben ihn eingesperrt. Okay. 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 Wow. Interesting. Ob das jetzt so gut war?
Mr. Mims, a word if you wouldn't mind?
Yes, what is it?
Das ist ja Wahnsinn, ne?
I found the person responsible for sabotaging your iron mill.
Oh, yeah?
His name is Peyton Ferguson. He's currently at the Bow Street Jail.
Hey, not bad. I owe you one, Detective.
He certainly does.
Ob das jetzt richtig war,
Can you tell me about Hannibal Kirkland?
ob das
Good
überhaupt
worker. Mostly kept to himself.
Konsequenzen
Real
hat?
shame what happened to him.
Do you know if anyone here disliked Kirkland?
Enough to want him dead? Nah. There's the occasional scrap, but everyone around here gets along for the most part. Like I said, he mostly kept to himself. Head down, didn't bother nobody.
Do you know what he did outside of work?
No idea. I only ever saw him here.
You said Kirkland was a good worker?
One of my best. I knew something was up when he didn't show up for a couple of days. Don't think he'd ever missed work before.
Did he have any personal effects he kept here, or an area where he worked?
He had a cabinet downstairs in the workers' changing area, just like everyone else. You can go take a look if you want, but I don't think the police found anything. Kirkland's cabinet is the third one from the left.
Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
The who?
He's a serial murderer who's killed 5 men over the past 4 months.
Is that right? Never heard of him.
He may have killed one of your men. Weren't the police here asking about it?
Oh, is that what that was all about? I know they came poking around here a while back, but I was busy dealing with other things.
It's nice to see the lines of communication here are wide open.
I'll be going now.
Be careful on your way out.
Ja, wir mussten uns ja für irgendeinen entscheiden. Also wir mussten jetzt einen von diesen Leuten blamen, als ob das jetzt eine Konsequenz hat. Pff. Der dritte von links verkehrt. Geehrte Herren, bitte nicht unter die Dusche rasieren. Meine Putzfrau hat mir beinahe den Kopf abgerissen, als sie auf Schluss mit den ganzen Haaren nicht klarkommt. Mims, alles klar. Kirklands Schrank. Aber was ist mit den anderen Schränken? Ja, woher soll ich denn das wissen?
Sounds like there's someone in there. If you weren't so bashful, I'd suggest joining in. You could certainly use it. Sounds like there's someone.
Ja, geh doch auch mal rein. Vielleicht sagt er uns ja die Hilfe, hier den Pin.
Just another unmarked store. Just another.
636? Wieso 636? Ich probier's, aber wieso? Ja, und jetzt?
Just another. At least having a heater down here manages to keep things warm. I remember the changing rooms at the police
genommen für
station
deinen
was
Schrank.
ice cold.
Ach so. Deswegen. Ja, gut. Das ist natürlich eine hinreichende Information. Kirkland. So, und Kirkland hat... Was könnte denn... Was haben wir denn für Informationen über Kirkland? Kirkland, Billighaus. Leeres Blatt gefaltet, ne, Hinweise. Hannibal Kirkland. Alter, 32. Kopfschuss, Eisenkorn, also die hat Justice in dem Ort. Geschrieben stand nichts, vielleicht am Tatort. Zeugen. Vielleicht ist ein Zettel in seiner Wohnung oder sowas. Ja, genau. Was ist mit der Person der Dusche? Er sagt, das eventuell nützlich wird dazu zu gehören. Ja, eben. Deswegen sage ich ja, das finde ich auch irgendwie interessant. Was ist mit seinem Alter oder so?
Sounds like there's someone in there. If you weren't so bashful, I'd suggest joining in.
Das ist ja tricky. 3? Was ist das für ein... Wer könnte das denn wissen? Ach, die Polizei weiß es. Die haben den doch aufgemacht, oder? Da müsste ich mal Snelling fragen. Die Polizei muss das ja wissen. Eigentlich. Vielleicht weiß es er auch.
Mr. Mims,
Yes?
would you happen to know the combination to Hannibal Kirkland's cabinet?
No. Every worker sets their own combination, and I don't ask for it.
What happens if they were to forget it?
Well, I have them come up with some sort of personal reminder and keep those in a file.
And do you still have Kirkland's?
I'll give it to you as soon as we're done talking.
I'll be going now.
Be careful on your way out. There you go. You're lucky I only clean out my files at the end of the year.
See, I always told you I wasn't disorganized. Just preparing for the future.
Schauen wir, was das war. The Shipwreck, The Red and the White, The Sign. The Sign, The Red and the White. Das ist Red and White, das ist The Sign. Und da drin ist ein... Hier ist ein... Da ist eine 0 drauf. Da ist eine 0. The Red and the White, da ist eine 8. Und The Sign... Meinte der das da oder meinte der N das hier? Das wäre dann eine 3. Dann wäre es 0, 8, 3. Ach, Depp. Ist mir jetzt erst aufgefallen, dass ich mit Rechtsklick die Notizen aufmachen kann. Ha!
Empty. That's disappointing.
Not completely empty. There's something at the bottom here.
Ja. Die Polizei mal wieder nicht gefunden. The Gilded Lily. Die güldene Lilly. 12 Reizendamen stehen stets alles bereit. Alle Größen, ob klein, ob Schrank, ob Drall. Sondergebot gegen Vorlage dieses Gutscheins, der hat sich angeboten, eine Krone zum halben Preis. Bla bla bla. Ah, ein Bordell. Ein Freudenhaus.
Hannibal had a few extracurricular activities after all.
Aha, und da sehen wir den Dreck am
That's
Stecken.
enough, Bill. We need...
Da ist schon der Dreck deutlich sichtbar. Ja? Sixt? Hammers, ja. Hammerschuh. Ja? Das ist ja... Jetzt müssen wir natürlich noch rausfinden, was die Damen da über ihn zusammenhagen. Na? Die güldene Lilie.
Well, hello there, handsome. Welcome to the Gilded Lily. Come over here and tell me what kind of pleasure it is you're looking for.
I'm afraid I'm here for business, not pleasure.
Oh, well, that's just a shame, isn't it?
Hi,
I'm Miles Fordham, private investigator. And you are?
You can call me Serafina. I'm in charge of this establishment.
You won't mind if I take a look around or ask you some questions?
As long as you keep to the front room, you can do whatever you like. Beyond that, you're gonna have to pay.
Maybe it's best if you leave this part out when you tell Adelaide about the case later.
Ach, Quatsch. Okay, dann fragen wir sie mal.
May I ask you a few questions, Serafina?
Of course you may, but I can't guarantee the answers will be free.
So, how did you get into this business?
Like many of the other girls, it was the best of some bad options. I had no interest in being beholden to a husband. I may be a fallen woman, but better to fly and fall than to have your wings clipped.
Do you enjoy the work?
It's a job like any other, Mr. Fordham. There are good days and there are bad days. But my girls are my family. We take care of each other. I couldn't ask for anything better.
This is a lovely establishment you have. And such a nice name, too.
Thank you, my dear. It wasn't always called the Gilded Lily, though. We were formerly known as La Maison des Tolérances.
What inspired the name change?
That's a bit of a long story. Not worth getting into.
How long have you been operating?
Going on 25 years. Business has been good. There's a reason this is the world's oldest profession, you know.
Did you have a man named Hannibal Kirkland as a client?
I make it my practice not to learn the names of any customers here, Mr. Fordham. I hate to disappoint anyone who comes through those doors, but discretion is paramount in this business.
Well, at least you know you can trust these women with your secrets.
Do you know anything about the Justice Killer?
I'm afraid not, dear. I don't normally associate with killers.
Are you sure you don't know anything? He's the reason I'm here.
Well, I can assure you I know nothing about your murderer. If the trail has led you here, it's surely just coincidence.
Yeah, she seems awfully certain of that. It's a good thing we don't believe in coincidences.
Thank you for your time.
Of course, my dear.
Ja, aber was hat das mit der Lilie auf sich? Warum hat sie auf einmal den Namen Lilie? Coco, was wird denn das jetzt hier? Und, oh, Mädchen. Und also ich habe gerade so das Gefühl, dass wir hier ein ganz heißer Tipp sind hier in dem Etablissement, dass hier jemand der Killer sein könnte. Vielleicht sogar sie, aber ich weiß es nicht. So als, ne, wegen, ja, für die Rechte der Frau, bla 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 und so, ne. Der Typ hier, den werden wir jetzt mal befragen.
Looks nervous. Wonder if this is his first time. What a charming statue. Wouldn't she get cold fetching water in that state of undress? Looks nervous. You certainly won't find art like that at the National Gallery. Oh, my virgin eyes. I'm not too familiar with places like this, but I believe that's where the fun happens, if you've got the crowns for it. I think that room is reserved for paying customers. We won't be able to get back there without a good reason.
Gute Frage.
Looks nervous.
Der Typ hier, der kommt, na wobei, es ist wahrscheinlich nur so ein random Guy, der gerade rumchillt. Sie hat auf jeden Fall einiges zu verbergen, aber das ist ja
We've exhausted her knowledge.
Nicht so wichtig gerade. Aber hier stimmt irgendwas auf jeden Fall nicht in dem Laden. Okay. Das ist ja nicht umsonst eine Lilie hier, ne? Also was haben wir jetzt noch offen? Die Brückenbaustelle haben wir immer noch offen. Das Kaffeehaus auch. Lampenlager, Polizeirevier, das Parlament, Uptons Apartment. Und die Eisenhütte auch noch. Als hätten wir da auch immer noch was zu tun. Das ist ja... Wir klappern mal wieder die ganzen Leute ab, ob wir noch mit ihnen reden können.
Asleep.
Ja, da ist nichts mehr zu tun, offenbar.
All that.
Die Lilia kann schon Parfüms drin. Ja, das wären schon krasse Zufälle hier. Dogs vom Gascone.
Excuse me, Gerard?
Yeah?
Would you happen to know anything about the Redites?
I heard some of the other men talking about them, but I don't ask too many questions. Seems to me they just a bunch of angry and confused people with no other way to express themselves than lashing out. I admit I feel sorry for them.
You're not worried about Steam Tech putting you out of a job?
Nah. Machines can only do so much. You still need a man to make them work or to fix them when they're broke. I think them Redites are just making a big fuss over nothing.
Thank you, Gerard. I appreciate the information.
Not a problem, boss.
Gut, das hat ja gar nichts gebracht.
Safe for only 25 men at once. I used to draw the line at 2. I wonder if it would be any fun to tie yourself to that thing and go for a few spins.
Tja, na, wir klappern jetzt nochmal unsere ganzen Orte ab. Vielleicht können wir mit jemandem wieder ein bisschen mehr klappern. Ansonsten Die Witwe gibt's ja auch immer noch. Vielleicht hat sie noch ein paar
Hello
Informationen
again, Mr. Fordham.
für uns.
Probably best to leave.
Nein. Das ist nicht okay. Gut, da hatte ich jetzt meine meiste Hoffnung reingesteckt. Aber ja. Dogs von Gascon.
Keep up the good work, Mr. Hastings.
Vielleicht hat irgendwas mit den Lilien zu tun, aber...
No use.
Tja.
No use.
Es gibt immer diesen einen Punkt in jedem Fall. An dem sind wir gerade. Ah, vielleicht weiß er schon wieder was Neues? Nee, er ist immer noch hier. Er ist immer noch hier. Warum hat er nichts in seinen Kalender eingetragen? Ja, da war nichts drin. Ne?
Nothing but a bunch of boring documents. You'd think he could have at least been considerate enough to keep something scandalous in here.
Ja, gut. Das ist halt nun mal einfach so. Da, bei dem haben wir gar nichts rausbekommen, oder? Kann das sein hier? Bei dem Typen haben wir überhaupt nichts erfahren?
May I ask you a few questions?
Of course! What would you like to know?
With all these promises of technological advancement, have the Redites given you any trouble?
Oh, those tech-fearing dolts. Yes, I'm sorry to say that we've gotten threats from them. They have yet to carry any out, which is unsurprising.
How so?
Groups like that are all bluster and no backbone.
I've seen some evidence to the contrary.
Is that right? Well, we've seen little beyond threatening letters, and I intend to make sure it stays that way.
Do you have any of these letters I might have a look at?
Yes, I have one. I'll give it to you before you leave.
Thank you. Your cooperation is much appreciated.
Happy to help. Here's that letter you were asking about.
Oh, hier, guck mal da unten. An die Ingenieure Chaos und Zerstörung. Sie haben völligen Gegensatz zur natürlichen Ordnung. Die Dinge einer sogenannten Verbesserung werden zum Untergang dieser Gesellschaft sein. Und hier unten ist unterschrieben von PF. Ja, wenn ihr unsere Experimente nicht beendet, sind die Reddits gezwungen, aktiv zu werden. Lasst euch das zur Warnung sein. PF. Ich denke, wir haben den richtigen verhaftet.
Whoever wrote this letter signed it with initials. They can't have been so stupid as to make themselves so easily identifiable, can they? Perhaps it would be a good idea to take another look at that list you got from Snelling.
Ja, das gucken wir mal. Wo ist denn die Liste? Ja, kann ich die Liste nochmal... Ich glaube, wir haben den richtigen verhaftet, oder? Der hieß doch PF, oder? Hieß der nicht? Wie hieß denn der? Der hieß doch irgendwie so... Ihr wisst schon. Der hieß doch so, oder? Der hieß doch... Irgendwas mit PF. Ich glaube schon. Ich glaube, wir haben den richtigen verhaftet, Leute. Ich glaube, das war der. Da bin ich mir ziemlich sicher. Ja. Die Liste hängt doch bei Akten. Ah ja, sorry. Ich weiß nicht mehr. Ich weiß auch nicht mehr. Klar, die hängt bei Akten. Danke. Aber ich bin mir ziemlich sicher.
Therein lies Upton's...
Ja, ich will die Liste, Bruder. Er lässt sie mich nicht mehr angucken. Ich glaube, es war der richtige. Oder es geht einfach nicht mehr, weil wir schon gemacht haben. Ja. Ich glaube, wir haben den richtigen verhaftet. Ich weiß es wirklich. Es ist recht dumm. Ich könnte, warte mal. Ich mache mal eben den hier. So, ich habe doch da gespeichert. Wir schauen mal auf die Liste. PF. Peyton Ferguson. Ja, den haben wir verhaftet. Also war der Richtige. Das ist schön. Das ist sehr schön. Und mit diesem beruhigenden Gefühl und einer etwas anspannenden Atmosphäre, weil wir noch nicht genau wissen, in welcher Dunkelheit wir das haben, wünsche euch eine gute Nacht und freue mich auf morgen, Da gibt es donnerstags Special Stream. Ich weiß noch nicht, was so special an dem Donnerstag-Stream wird, aber es wird auf jeden Fall ein Stream. Schlaft gut, gute Nacht, danke fürs Reingucken und bis zum nächsten Mal. Macht's gut. Tschüssi.